The truth isn't positive or negative. It's just the truth. Now, here's some more of it. This is the Sports Source.
All right, here we go. This segment brought to you by Tepoco Lodge. The weather is getting cooler. A lunch or dinner or just a drink by the roaring rapids of the Chiowa River. Great this time of the year. Leaves starting to turn. Visit the Tepoco Tavern. Have a lunch, have a dinner up there. Check out the lodge while you're there as well. You'll be very impressed. Their grounds are huge. It goes on forever. They've got biking trails, hiking trails. You're right on the river, creekside area down there too. It's a really terrific place. And if you haven't been there, it's kind of a local hidden landmark. You need to get it there and experience it. You'll be very impressed that you did. The Tepoco Lodge. First time I went up there, I was blown away by it. All right. Future foes scores. We do this every week very quickly. You know that Florida beat Kentucky. Georgia wiped out Arkansas State. Missouri took out Southeast Missouri State. Mississippi State lost at home to Kansas State in a close game. Alabama put away South Carolina, but that was a little closer than I think most people thought, and South Carolina had some success on offense against them. Okay, back with our media guys. We're talking with David Oven of The Athletic about the story he wrote where he sat all week with Chattanooga coaches. Well, he probably stood some too, but he was with Chattanooga coaches all week as they game planned for Tennessee, scouted. And we talked about the things that they saw and picked up on, some tells for Tennessee in that last segment. But they also chimed in, their head coach chimed in on Jeremy Pruitt and the coaches here at Tennessee. Let's take a look at this comment. Sometimes the second year can be harder than the first, especially if you're trying to play a lot of young guys. They got to leave Pruitt alone. He's a good coach. Leave them boys alone. Coaches don't get stupid from year to year. He's paraphrasing Charlie Daniels, man. Leave that bald head country boy alone. All right, David, Rusty Wright, he's been through this.
Yeah, Rusty Wright actually was on Georgia State's staff last season. So he's very aware of Sean Elliott and was watching the Georgia State-Tennessee game with his wife a couple weeks ago. And so we were talking about it, and they went 2-10 in Sean Elliott's second year. And he said it was just you're merging guys, and it can be difficult because you're sort of resetting the roster. You don't have sort of anything built up, and I think he feels like Tennessee is going through some of that as well. And I think ultimately he's just saying, you know, these guys have shown that they've deserved to be in these positions, and if you sort of let these things take care of themselves and be patient, that it will turn out in Tennessee's favor. The SEC's tough. Winning is tough. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but I think certainly, you know, he felt pretty certain that Tennessee has a staff that's capable of winning, but they need patience from fans and from everyone. That's sort of, you know, he's turned up the last few weeks when you start 0-2.
Absolutely. Well, none of us went into this year thinking we'd be talking about job security by week 2 of the season. So the idea that now this is coaches take up for other coaches. So give him time. He's also speaking to his fan base as well. If something goes wrong here, give me time. But I think there is a lot to that. It would be damaging for Tennessee to have to make a move this year if things go completely sideways off the rails. Gentlemen, any reaction from what you heard in the last segment, from what David has said in terms of this report?
Well, quickly on the key word in all that to me was sometimes, because there are a lot of situations where you can point to a coach who had a great second year, many of them, a lot of them in the SEC. I think where that is most true is when you're inheriting a roster that's not very good, because you are trying to mix the old with the new, and I think there's a buy-in that you have to establish. But I've seen a lot of coaches in year 2 have great teams.
And I think you also got to look at going from being a defensive coordinator to being the head coach in year 2, because you learn so much in year 1 when it's all on your lap and all the stuff you have to deal with. That's why I think it does tend to be a little bit easier overall in year 2.
I'm going to pick a bone with Sterling Hinton. He said the coaches know, the coaches know, the coaches know. Just real quickly, a few years ago, you remember me calling you every Sunday. All the Vikings do is run on second down. Every second down, second long, second short, didn't matter. At the end of the season, in February, after the season, the entire NFL season's over with, the Vikings self-scouted, and they came out and said, wow, we ran too much on second down. So
true.
the coaches don't always see what other people see their team doing.
And give Tennessee coaches credit for scouting the Chattanooga punt team and knowing there was a flaw in their blocking scheme, too.
All right, very good. David, do you feel better or worse about Tennessee's season ahead after spending time with the coaching staff looking at what they showed you.
I was surprised on both sides of the ball at how obvious they are. You know, one of the things they come up in the piece is just how they come with a blitz from the field side on defense on almost every second down. And Joe Pizzo, I was talking to him, he said, you know, if they do that 100% of the time, usually I just think they're going to be able to out-execute you, kind of like the pick and roll, even if you know it's coming. If they do it right, they don't think it matters. But, I mean, better offenses and better teams, you know, we'll see. I mean, I think the question is how do they adjust from some of that stuff? And because I'm sure a lot of the SEC coaches are going to see a lot of the same things.
Is that the kind of thing that you do at Alabama because you've got more talent and you can get away with it, as you just said?
I think you could make a long list of things that you can do at Alabama that you cannot do right now, and that's probably one of them.
All right, very good, very good. It's a really fascinating piece. That's unprecedented access to a coaching staff leading up to a week. It's a really good read. All right, when we come back, it's the Chucky C-Note Casino. Where's he putting the line for Tennessee, Florida? And can I get one of these picks right sometime? We'll find out next. Coming back on the Sports Source.